Hello traders, good day to you all. This is Christopher Glen. Today it is the 13th of August 2014. This is the daily market review for the current market status. We've seen that the Japanese yen at the beginning of the trading session received approximately the same as was expected in terms of the GDP report, but we could say that the Japanese yen itself, that was a bit strong in front of other currencies today, became the weakest, almost the weakest currency that we've got in the market. We will see the strength indication several minutes from now. We've received some bad indications regarding the Chinese market, but it didn't really affect the general market, the major currencies. After that, we had at 9:30 an announcement regarding the pound. I can tell you that one announcement was good, the average earning index, and the count change was that was good, and the index was bad indication. But generally, the pound lost a lot of strength in the market, not only because of this indication, but also because of the Bank of England inflation report and the speech itself. So we had a bit of weakness on behalf of the pound, while the euro itself is pretty weak in the market as well. So at the beginning, we had a good potential to express weakness of the euro in front of the pound, but after that, the pound lost some strength as well, and we saw the pound versus the US dollar and the pound versus Japanese yen collapsing, just collapsing. After that, we had the core retail sales in the United States and retail sales. Bad announcement regarding the dollar. I told you yesterday that I'm expecting to see weakness on behalf of the dollar just for the meanwhile, for the beginning of the week, Wednesday, and then on Thursday and Friday, I'm expecting the dollar to gain strength. We will analyze the dollar index again, and late at night, we will receive the retail sales regarding the New Zealand. As I said, usually the New Zealand market does not affect the entire market, but again, lately we've seen that the New Zealand indeed reflects a lot of liquidity, and there's still a good potential to see some sort of movement over there. Just to begin by saying that the New Zealand itself is among the strongest currencies that we've got at the moment. Looking at the past indication, we can say that usually the indication is producing bad than the forecast, the actual figure. But again, we can't really count on that. We just see that it changes the curse of the chart, and therefore I do expect the New Zealand to express liquidity late at night at 11:45. Tomorrow specifically, good announcement regarding the German market, the GDP report at Euro, the 7 a.m. GMT time frame, and unemployment claims at 1:30. Again, very good announcement in terms of liquidity, good potential to express liquidity on the dollar specifically. And again, my expectation, and I'll talk about it in a second in terms of structure, is to see a stronger dollar in the markets. As I said, Friday will be pretty weak at the beginning of the trading session, weak on behalf of the Euro. Bank closed in France and Italy. After that, we will receive a second estimate GDP regarding the pound, and the Canadian dollar and US dollar will deliver the PPI report and manufacturing sale announcements at 1:30. Therefore, I do expect to see liquidity on behalf of the US session. Canadian dollar and US dollar both will deliver liquidity to the market. Let's go to the chart. Let's see what we've got for today. So going over the dollar index, and I'll talk about the gold in a second. We've been talking about the gold for the past several days. Regarding the US dollar, I said that I'm expecting to see a downtrend over here. I said that this structure wasn't complete. Let me just erase the arrows that I've placed over here and talk again about the structure that we can see over here. Okay, so we've seen a completion of a cycle in terms of the elite wave analysis. A third wave climbing up, a fourth wave dropping down, and a fifth wave completing a structure. Since then, we've received an A wave, a B wave, and right now we can see a weakness on behalf of the dollar dropping down. The announcements that we received regarding the US dollar for the past hour or so delivered this very nice weakness, a bit of pullback, and I do expect to see a bit more weakness on behalf of the dollar before we'll continue higher. Looking at the gold, when I was expecting to see weaker dollar in the markets, I was expecting to see stronger gold in the markets. And indeed, we've received this first uptrend yesterday, and then we received the pullback, and I said that I'm expecting it to climb back up again. Again, generally, for the long term, I do see that the gold dropping down. What we've got over here is a triangle concentrating in a specific narrowed area. If we'll erase the arrows, we can even sketch a triangle over here, and triangles can appear in a middle of a corrective pattern before a continuance of the liquidized impulse movement, meaning for an uptrend in this case, or a completion of the fifth wave, indicating that there's a potential to see a cross and a following impulse movement down. In this case today, because of the structure of the dollar index, my assessment is that we will see this chart falling down below this trend line, therefore downtrend impulse movement preceding a downtrend liquidized movement regarding the gold toward the $1,250 per an ounce. That's the value that I'm predicting for this specific chart. Let's go to the other charts. Let's see what the dollar delivered regarding the weakness that we saw today. I've been talking about this level on the dollar versus the Russian ruble. I said that we've reached a very difficult area to cross in terms of support and resistance line. I said, and I'm expecting to see fluctuation level, and indeed we can see the market bouncing higher, lower. In terms of structure, again, it really communicates with the dollar index. Going to an hourly chart, we can see that we've received the completion of an impulse movement, then we went for an A pullback, B, and a C. It's expected to drop down before we will continue higher. Good potential to see the market crossing the past support and resistance line, but at the moment we're in the middle of a corrective pattern. Therefore, I will stay away from this specific chart until tomorrow, when we'll receive a new indication regarding the dollar that I assume will support a stronger dollar in the markets, therefore an uptrend movement on this chart. Dollar versus the Turkish market, on the other hand, is giving us a corrective pattern over here. Good potential to follow an uptrend movement, maybe on behalf of weakness regarding the Turkish currency. And the dollar versus South African rand, if we will go to a larger time frame, we can see that we're basically forming a sideways corrective pattern. A sideways corrective pattern. One second. Should fluctuate between the channel line before we'll break for a higher rate. Again, taking you back to the idea of gold dropping down and dollar gaining strength. Good potential to see the dollar versus South African rand climbing higher on this chart. Just that at the moment we're fluctuating between the two levels, and we can only make an assessment regarding this area that the market will continue its bouncing backward and forward until we'll receive confirmation on behalf of the dollar that indeed it's gaining strength in the market, and that strength will be expressed in front of this chart as well. Long-term investments. Let's go back to what I said yesterday regarding long-term investments. I've been talking about the euro versus the Australian dollar. I said that we could begin dropping down over here, and indeed we can see this very nicely downtrend movement, approximately 100 pips of a downtrend movement until now. I do expect this downtrend movement to continue. The euro versus the pound began its downtrend movement over here. That was a good potential to see a continuance of a downtrend movement, but in this case we saw the pound losing a lot of strength. It climbed higher not because of the stronger euro, but because of the weaker pound in the market. At the moment I do see still potential to express weakness on behalf of the euro because of different issues that we've got over there regarding the European Central Bank, and in this case any kind of indication regarding stronger a pound in the market will ignite a new impulse movement dropping down. So generally do try to express strength in front of a weaker potential euro. For example, today we got an announcement regarding the South African rand, the New Zealand. If you receive good announcements regarding the New Zealand, that will be an amazing opportunity to express that for long-term investment in front of the euro. Something else, the dollar versus the Canadian dollar is in a potential to complete the corrective pattern. Now, I've been talking about this chart for a while, and I showed you that again I've been talking about this chart since the beginning of this year, and I said that this is an impulse movement. It will complete its structure, then we will receive a corrective pattern, A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, and after that we will see a continuance of an uptrend. Indeed, we received the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and the fifth is expected to climb up again. After that, I do expect to see a bit of fluctuation level, up and down, and then a continuance of an uptrend crossing the past 1.1626, 1.1267 area. That's the last stop that we received over here. Good potential to catch an uptrend movement for the short term, and after the pullback, good potential to ride on a longer, stronger liquidized movement, which is the third wave of the fifth wave, completing the uptrend structure. When I'm analyzing this chart, I'm not only basing my opinion according to the daily chart, but also according to the weekly chart, and showing a very nice impulse movement dropping down. We're in the middle of a corrective pattern climbing higher. Good potential to climb higher and to complete its structure around this level and then dropping down. So long-term investment toward a downtrend movement will reach this area approximately at the end of 2014. But until then, I see this chart climbing higher and higher. I'd like to wish you traders all the best with your trades. Have a pleasant day and bye-bye.